Hey up. So tonight, to make up for a previous video where I cheated quite a lot by doing some supermarket ribs in a box basically, we're going all out the opposite way this time. So now we're going for Moules Marinière. These are mussels that we have hand-picked from the beautiful coast of Treharnon Bay, I think, down in Cornwall. We went out there today, got a bucket full of them, ended up coming back with about 3.2 kilos, which is a bit too much, so there'll be plenty left for another meal tomorrow night. Very simple dish. You've got to clean them, scrub them, de-beard them, de-barnacle them, which we'll cut to something we did earlier, so about now. So guys, completed the mussel picking. We've survived, the tide was coming in. We almost got trapped, but we have got a proper bounty of nice juicy mussels there that we're going to get back to the house and get them cooked up. Moules Marinière, here we come. Right guys, so we're prepping the mussels. We've de-bearded them, which is no easy task when you've got about 1,000 of them. My lovely wife Angela is just taking the barnacles off them using a fairly blunt knife and just sort of scraping them off. Then we're popping them into this bucket, where they then go onto our young apprentice, Jacob, I was getting them wrong, these two, who is giving them a good scrub before they go into the final bowl, ready for cooking. So, crack on guys, only about another 1,000 to go. And there we have it, 3.2 kilos of mussels, all prepared, de-barnacled, de-bearded and cleaned. And then they're ready for cooking. So we're going to follow a very simple recipe. It's classic, you know, recipe. So we're going to add a knob of butter into the frying pan. Now I'm cooking on an induction hob because I'm down in an Airbnb type thing, so it's going to take a few minutes to get it up to temperature, unfortunately. So just watch that butter, get it melted. We're going to soften up some onions. We're going to soften up the garlic once the onions are done. Then we're going to bang in the mussels, we're going to bang in the white wine, we're going to bang in the cream and the parsley, and these are going to be amazing. Okay guys, so the butter is melted. We're going to go ahead and add some finely chopped onions that we prepared earlier. I never quite know how hot these induction hobs are. I don't cook on induction hob at home, so it's not something I'm familiar with, so forgive me if I need to turn it up and down. But all I want to do basically is soften these onions up, get them softened up in the pan with butter. And once they've softened up a little bit, I'm going to chuck the garlic in. So they're doing alright. So we're about ready to stick the garlic in now. Those onions have softened up. We don't want to fry the onions. We don't want them to brown off at all, and we certainly don't want this garlic to brown off. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to get a good stir around, a couple of minutes. The smells that releases as soon as you add the garlic. You know, it's one of the most sort of famous smells in cooking. It's onion and garlic. It's just amazing. Bang that garlic into a frying pan with a bit of butter and onions. Yeah, very good. So we just want to keep this stirring. It does smell nice. We just want to keep this stirring, making sure that garlic doesn't burn. And then in a minute, like literally a minute, we're going to be ready for the mussels. So let's just keep an eye on this. Cheers. Okay, so the garlic has softened up. We're careful not to let it burn. Mussels, please. Thank you very much. So we've got about 2 kilos of mussels here. We're just going to bang these straight into the pan. You need a big enough pan to be able to do this. This pan is just about big enough to prepare for this amount of mussels. We've added the mussels in, a bit noisy. I'm going to give a little bit of stir just to try and mix the onion up a little bit with that. And then pretty much straight through, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the heat up to full. some white wine. These little miniature bottles are quite handy for this sort of thing, you know, especially if you're not a big white wine drinker. So you want to add about 150ml. This is an 187ml bottle, so I know roughly where we want to be. And then it leaves some for me to taste, which is obviously very important to make sure the wine's up to scratch. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Well, you know. Right, so everything's in. Pop a lid on. We're now going to let those mussels steam. And what's going to happen is they're all going to open up. Any that don't open up means that they're not edible, so I'm just going to leave them like that. But they're banging on now, cooking away. I'm going to keep an eye on them, and we'll give them a bit of a stir every now and then. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. Cheers. Alright, so we've got a load of fresh parsley, fresh-ish. I'm going to give this a good chop up. Now in this Airbnb we are, there's one of these fancy herb choppers. I've never really used one of these before, so I'm going to give it a go. See what the rage is about. Black bit there, take that out. Now this chopping board does leave to be a bit to be desired. To be fair, it's not as big as what I'm used to, but it should do the trick. Don't need to chop it up too finely, don't need to be like in very, very fine small pieces or anything like that. See, straight away I found a flaw with this chopper, all getting stuck in the middle, isn't it? It's all well and good with these fancy gadgets, but give me a nice big chopping board, a nice sharp knife, any day of the week. Give these a bit of a shake. The smell of that is fantastic. You've got the white wine cooking off, all the alcohol's cooking off, you've got the saltiness of the mussels. Shake around, try and toss them up with some of the juices. Looking good. Can't see any of them opening yet. So we've got a couple of minutes left on them. Right, I can see through the glass that some of these are starting to open now, so oh, look at that. Give it a bit of a stir, that's what you're looking for, opening up. The smell's not quite as alcoholic now, so a lot of the wine has been cooked off. These are not going to be too much longer until they're cooked. Looking good. Right, so these guys are pretty much definitely done. They've been in for long enough for them to be fully cooked. What we're going to do now is we're going to reduce the heat down to something fairly low because we're going to add the cream. What we don't want to do is make this cream curdle. So we'll take the heat right down. In fact, I'll turn it off. There's not enough residual heat in it. So for the amount of mussels I've got here, the amount of white wine I've put in, I'm going to stick a whole carton of these mini cartons of cream in there. So we're going to pour that in. Give it a good stir up. I'm going to chuck all this parsley in as well. Give this a really good stir. This is going to make the base, this is going to make the sauce, you know, that you're dipping your crusty bread into. All we need to do with that cream is warm it through. So at this point, what I will do is just taste it. I'm tasting the sauce really to see if it needs any more seasoning. Try and find a patch of sauce. So we've got a nice bit of, ow, it's hot. Yeah, that is absolutely banging that. That is the best bit about eating Moules Marinière. dipping your bread into that really nice sauce at the end. A good crusty bread. I popped down to the local supermarket earlier and picked up some right bargains. About 4 little baguettes on cheap shelf, 25p for 4. Got 2 of them, perfect. Right, these are done, so let's get them served up. And here is the best bit, the lovely sauce. I'm going to ladle that into each of these. And this is what you're going to be dipping your bread into at the end. And there you have it, guys, Moules Marinière. Rick Stein, eat your heart out.